So today on the Cowbridge Kitchen we're going to have another recipe, or another video recipe for our Indian section, and we're going to make a curried red lentil dal. What you're going to need is some red lentils, an onion and some garlic, and a few more ingredients. Okay. First thing we're going to do is going to get this onion chopped up and mixed with the garlic. We're going to get that cooking in a pan, and then I'll show you the rest of the ingredients we're going to need to mix together. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, we're going to peel this onion. I'm going to get this chopped up into dices. Don't have to be too small, just sort of rough dices, okay? Okay, so with our onions all chopped up, we've got them into a container. What we're going to do is we're going to add 1 teaspoon of lazy garlic into this. You can use cloves of garlic if you want to. You need to slice them up nice and small. Probably use about 2 of them, but lazy garlic for my purposes. There we are, 1 teaspoon into the onions. There we are. So mix that into there. Set them aside. Okay, so over at the stove we have ourselves a large cooking pot. So this is a cast iron casserole dish, okay? So we're going to cook our dal in this. So what we're going to do is get some heat under there and get that onto a medium heat. You're going to want 1 tablespoon now of olive oil into this pan. Yeah, 1 good tablespoon of olive oil. And then what we're going to do is we're going to throw our onions and garlic into there. There we are, so they can go straight in. And we're going to cook these now on a low heat, okay? Just so they cook nice and slowly for about 5 minutes or so, just so they start to soften. Okay, so while those onions and garlic are sort of sautéing off, if you like, in that oil, we're going to mix up our spice mix, okay? So we've got a range of spices down here, which I'll show you, and I'll show you the quantities if you need to mix up. We'll get them all into a little pot. Okay, we've got some ground cumin, some ground turmeric, some hot curry powder, and then we've got some ground coriander, and also we're going to use some English mustard, some hot chili powder, a few bay leaves, and we're going to need a bit of veg bouillon or veg stock. Okay, let's show you the quantities of these and how we need to get these mixed together. Okay, so with the cumin, we're going to use a teaspoon as our measure, okay, and we're going to want 2 teaspoons of this, 2 nice sized teaspoons into the pot. Same with the turmeric, 2 teaspoons of this. 1, 2. Hot curry powder. I'm going to use 1 good teaspoon of this, okay, because we don't want it too hot. But if you want it a little bit hotter, you could add 2 of them. And our ground coriander, and we're going to add 2 teaspoons of this. Then we're going to add a teaspoon of hot chili powder. Now remember, if you've put 2 teaspoons of hot curry powder in there, adding a teaspoon of this is going to make this pretty explosive, okay? So, you know, you use your head. I'm just going to use 1 teaspoon of hot chili on that. Mustard. Okay, last but not least, what we're going to do is we're going to add 1 teaspoon of English mustard into that mix. Get that in there. There we go. And that is pretty much ready to go in to our onions. Okay, so our onions have been cooking off in this pan now for about 5 minutes or so, and they're all starting to go clear and they're nice and soft. So what we're going to add, our spice mix that we made up a little bit earlier, we're going to pop this now straight into this pan. And that can all just go straight in there. And the mustard. Get that mixed in. And that's going to turn those onions a lovely, lovely curry colour. On top of that, we're going to pop 2 bay leaves. So 2 decent bay leaves in there. I'm going to cover that and I'm going to let it cook for about 5 minutes. Okay, so while our spices, onions and garlic and bay leaves are cooking off in this pan, they've been cooking off for a few minutes, okay? Beautiful smell coming out of that. Leave them for another minute. We're going to make up our lentils and our veg stock ready to go in there, okay? So down here, I've got some lentils, some bouillon and some water. Let me show you what to do. Okay, so in a large mixing bowl here, I've got myself 200 grams of split red lentils. Okay, 200 grams, 2 to 250. You want to use 250, go with 250. But I've got 200. I'm going to tip them into my measuring bowl. On top of that, I'm going to add a really good heaped teaspoon of veg stock, maybe a heap and a bit. And then we're going to want 400 millilitres now of boiling water onto this. So we'll measure up 400 ml. Get your 400 ml of water into that. And then with a fork, mix it in. So with our lentil and our water stock mix already made up now, this is ready to go into our onions and spices. Okay, so let's get back over to the stove. Let's get this lentil dal cooking. Okay, so we can take this lid off and there's a lovely flavour and a beautiful sound coming out of that. That smells delicious. What we're going to do now into this mix is we are going to add all of our stock and our lentils. And there, get the whole lot in there. Okay, what we want to do then is give that a good mix up. Get that heat onto a medium heat. And there we are. What we're going to do, once all that's stirred in, we're going to cover this with the lid. And we're going to cook it on a low heat so that it's simmering away for about 25 to 30 minutes. Beautiful. Okay, so what we want to do is, while this dal, I've moved it over onto a lower heat here, to keep it at a nice, very low simmer. Keep checking this every 5 minutes or so, because the water could evaporate even though we've got a lid on it. So when you take the lid off and you give it a stir with a wooden spoon, if the lentils are sticking to the bottom, or the dal is sticking to the bottom of the pan, add another 100 ml of water to it, okay, and stir that in. And keep doing that every 5 minutes or so, just keep an eye on it, because you don't want them to stick. Because this is going to take probably about 30 minutes for these lentils to soften up. Alright, so we'll just check it now, and if it needs a little bit more water, we'll pop another 100 ml in there, and we'll keep doing that until the lentils are nice and soft, like I said, about 30 minutes. Okay, so there we are. We'll just check this dal now to make sure it's not sticking. It's starting to stick a little tiny bit there to the bottom. Smells fantastic, but what we're going to do now, I'm going to add another 100 ml of water into there, and that's just going to keep it going and stop it sticking. And it's got about another 15 minutes or so. That will probably be enough, but we'll check it again in 5 minutes and see if that water is sufficient. Smells beautiful. There we are with our lid off. All the flavours coming out of there, and that dal looks pretty decent. Take yourself a little forkful and see what it tastes like. Tons of flavour, little bit of heat, absolutely beautiful. Just get that off the heat, just get it served up.